Welcome to Childcare Conversations, the podcast where early childhood leaders like you get real-world strategies, honest talk, and a whole lot of support. Whether you're running one center or many, we're here to help you lead with confidence and clarity. This episode is brought to you by our summer partner, Childcare Business Growth, your go-to solution for filling spots, increasing revenue, and scaling your childcare business without the burnout. We're proud to partner with a team that's as committed to your success as we are. Learn more at childcarebusinessgrowth.com. Now, let's get into today's conversation, one we think you're really going to love.
All right, so today from Milwaukee, we're bringing you not Laverne and Shirley, but Trina and Bianca. So, and I don't know, they don't have any letters on their shirts, but they might like a good milk and Pepsi, or maybe they're dancing through the streets. And so we are so excited to have a conversation about what's happening in Wisconsin and childcare. What's happening in Wisconsin, what's happening in your program, how your program was started. All of those things will be great.
Awesome. So you guys introduce each other. So each of you introduce the other. That makes it a lot more fun.
Okay. Awesome. So this is Miss Trina, the lovely assistant director here at Tender Care. She's been here for 13 years, and I absolutely enjoy working directly next to Miss Trina.
Awesome. Well,
give me a good one.
We call her Miss B around here, but Miss Bianca, she is the executive director for Tender Care. She's been here far longer than I have been. And she's great. She's what I call the advocate of all advocates for child care. And she has a great passion for what she does. So I love working with her, and there she is, Miss Bianca.
Well, okay. We are so glad to have you here. And Carrie was going to say something. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, one of the things that I think is really impressive about your story is the fact that the program has been around for 46 years.
Yes.
And there's not a lot of programs that have been around for 46 years. And I think that we should talk a little bit about that. Like, why was the program founded? What was the community like? And what you know about what has stayed the same and what has changed about your community.
Well, and I want to make sure you guys talk about the pivot.
We'll get there, but let's start at the beginning.
You want to take the history?
I'll start. So basically, Tender Care was founded in 1979 as an entity of Capitol Drive Lutheran Church. And yeah.
So what was the community like in the 70s? Was it primarily stay-at-home parents, or one parent working, one parent not working, both parents working? What was the ethnic mix like? What was the community like?
So I'm going to say, I'm going to go back just a little bit. So the church was founded in the early 1900s. It was built from ground up, early 1900s as a Lutheran church, as Trina stated. And the ministry of the child care was birthed for originally Sunday school. And they started this space for the parish as their Sunday school. And Sunday school was a forever evolving thing, but their congregation needed childcare as well as the community. Back in the 1970s-ish, the community was majority older, white, and Lutheran people. This neighborhood is kind of known for, well, now it's kind of transitioned. It was a little bit more Amish and things like that, but it has kind of diversified itself since then. Majority now are African American, and it's very urban right now. But they began as a parish for their Sunday school folks, and then evolved in 1979 to a licensed child care center.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that sounds like a pretty significant cultural shift from an Amish neighborhood to a very urban neighborhood. Like, that has got to have been interesting. I know you guys haven't been there the whole time.
No.
Been there for, more than 10 years of
Mhm.
that transition. How did that work for your staff who was used to one type of family and things were changing? How did that work for the staff?
So when I started 15 years ago, as a early child care teacher, the program was the Amish community they're just honestly a couple blocks away, and they have lots of centers, is what it appears, very home-based centers. And you can see kind of on different blocks, not maybe 2-3 blocks north and a couple blocks east, you'll see those programs still in operation throughout the days. On our walks, we can see them, so they're that close. But since I've been here within the last 15 years, I would say when I came in, the program was diverse. Not really that Amish community because they still had their own space, but the Lutheran families, there's families that were still attending a church. They had families at the center, but around the time that I got here, we had a larger population of community folks coming in to bring their children for care. So it was still a lot of church folks, but a lot of the community we had opened up for community, and they just start pouring in, and we're pretty much community based.
All right. So with that, community-based, urban, do you have a fairly large percentage then of your students and families who are on subsidy assistance? All
Or
right.
are they
That's my
mostly,
segue. You guys know where I'm going with that, right? Okay.
Got you.
are they mostly self-pay? So
No.
mostly self-pay or mostly with some subsidy?
Yep. So a majority of our families, and I'm going to say it was 98% for a really long time, but with the ever-changing subsidy rates and all those great things, not so great things, we have like a 95% rate of families that have shares versus our private pay families.
Okay.
And so all of our families, just about, unless they're a foster family, have a copay. Or
Okay.
they're severely under the poverty guidelines that don't have.
So I
copay.
kind of hear there's some stuff happening in Wisconsin with your budget.
There's some
And
stuff.
as a program, so we didn't really talk about the pivot, so I'm gonna kind of maybe figure out how to work both in.
Mhm.
So we know that you guys pivoted drastically after COVID. So as a result, you guys became your own standalone 501c3 in 2023, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And so now you've finally got that. You've got some longtime folks on your board, and then you discover that your state budget has tell us what's going on with your state budgets other than it's a mess.
Besides, it's a mess. So in Wisconsin, early child care has never, we're not a line item in our state budget, never have been. After COVID, some of those relief funds kind of started funneling through, and providers all across the state could see what that looked like to be to operate like we're in a state budget, to operate not from a negative providing care because we're passionate about it, but actually it being an equitable business to actually open, not just because you care about the kids and all that other great stuff, but you can actually pay your staff an equitable wage and all those great things. And through that relief funds, folks kind of saw what it looked like. And of course, like everything that happened during the relief and with those funds and the pandemic, those funds have moved out. Well, they'll be ending. I just got an email prior to coming into this space. Just got an email saying that June is our last month to go after the what is it called? The grant that they have been giving us since COVID. And that'll be going away. June is our last month, and we haven't landed. Well, what they have done thus far is decided that they will not be putting, the request was for $480 billion to be put into our state budget to support our early child care sector. And they have decided that that is absolutely off of the table. So we will not be getting those funds, and it is going to hurt programs severely. I know people personally, program in Racine will be closing at the end of this month. It's a lot of programs that are going to be closed. And I think they're saying about 25% is what I can remember the last accurate number that I heard of programs will be closing across the state, which is going to hurt us significantly because our state is very unique. Like Milwaukee and our space is saturated with childcare centers. I'm not going to say all of them are high quality, but they're saturated with childcare centers. And northern parts of our state, they're deserts, like huge deserts where people are on wait lists before they really consider having children, because it's going to take them a year to get off of a childcare waiting list. So it's unique. Like I said, it's all type of different things, crazy. So with that already being an issue as far as childcare shortages in our state, this 25% of programs in the state closing is going to be a disaster for our state.
So that whole people understanding that childcare is the workforce behind the workforce is about to kind of hit the fan, or when this podcast goes live, it will have hit the fan. And we'll have to see how your state responds, because we've seen it in different states happen different ways. Missouri has done it in a very not financially responsible way. Kate, what can you tell us about how Missouri handled the fact that they didn't have any money for funding their subsidy program?
Well, they just kind of didn't tell people. And so people were still invoicing. And so then you ended up with programs that would be like 9 months behind in getting their money. And then they started putting caveats that if you aren't open when they go to cut the check, you don't get it. So you don't even get in the arrears funds.
Like, even though you owe people that have worked for those last 9 months with nothing. Oh,
yeah. And in Oklahoma, as of this recording, they've pretty much bankrupted their child care department. They're drastically changing the reimbursement rates. Like every day they send like new emails like, hey, by the way, we're just letting you know that if you don't do A, B, and C by June 1st, you're not going to get your subsidy. So instead of having real conversations or try to figure out where to get the funds, they are trying to reduce the number of quality programs. And as of today, the governor of Oklahoma vetoed a bill that would have made childcare employees who got free childcare something that they were reimbursed from the state for. It was going to be a line item in the budget. And it was passed in both their House and their Senate, and their governor vetoed it.
So that at least there would be funding for the employees whose kids were in childcare.
Yeah. Right. So like I said, when you're having a bad day, know that you're not alone. So what does this mean for your program? Because you guys are a nonprofit, do you have some outside grants that are going to help with those families who might feel that effect? Are you going to see an influx of students? What does this mean for y'all personally?
What does it mean for us? I've been trying to give everybody a sense of security. I'm going to just say it how I say it, because that's just what I can say. I am a hustler by nature. We will figure it out. I probably can't say on your podcast, but I'm going to say it because it might give it a little spice. Hook, or borrow, we're going to get it. We'll be fine. Okay. But that's just our program, because I am going to, I being in spaces in which I'm hearing what Oklahoma is doing. We're continuing to advocate. We have not stopped, but I pray I have a huge faith in God, and I know that our program won't be affected like some other programs, because it's going to happen for us, because I believe, and God has told me that it's going to happen for us. But a lot of programs are going to close. We do not have outside funders or grants, or we've been a mission of the church for so long. That's just what we did. And literally taking over the building and all those great things. I can be transparent. We ran through our building is older, so we ran through our savings, and not expecting that this would happen. Like, right. Of course, they see how great we are. They see how bad they need us. They see the workforce can't operate without us. They're gonna fund us. Like it's gonna happen. Like we're just gonna keep making sure that they're aware, going to the Capitol, advocating. We're gonna continue to do the work, but they'll see. They didn't see.
So,
I mean,
where are you guys as far as like literally the mayor of Milwaukee? If you guys are urban, I'm assuming that means that you've got how many of your parents both work?
All of our parents work
Yeah,
pretty
so
much.
you've got probably what 98% of your parents work, right? You probably got
Yep.
two parent households working.
Yep.
So, if all of a sudden you couldn't provide care, how many kids are in your program?
We can operate at not with 90 children. I think we have about 80 currently.
So so you have 80 kids, how many families?
About 42, 40.
Okay, so you've got 80 people who couldn't, well, at least 40 who couldn't go to work, right? Because some
Mhm.
parent would end up having to stay home.
Correct.
So if you haven't had conversations with your mayor, your economic development department, your planning and zoning folks, you might kind of point out and go, hey, we're going to have 40 people who aren't going to have an income, which means they're 40 times whatever they made, right? So let's just say it's 30,000 a year,
Mhm.
right? That's $1.2 million all of a sudden gone out of the economy in
not
Milwaukee.
counting your payroll.
Not including your payroll, because you're going to probably have to cut staff if half your families leave, right?
That part.
Or all your families leave,
Because
right? So
half of
you've
them
got
are staff.
then you got all those. So sometimes getting business-y with those economic development folks, it kind of makes them scratch their head. If you have any major employers, making sure those major employers know, hey, we just want to let you know that we've surveyed our parents, and if for some reason we don't get funded, these parents aren't going to be able to work in your business. How would you like to help? How would you like to help us? Right?
I
We,
mean,
yeah.
and I have to say, I know that it feels right now like the sky is falling because they've said this isn't going into the budget. But imagine you're in a state where the legislature only meets every other year for 2.5 months. That's what they're dealing with in Texas,
Mm.
where if they don't get the money into this budget, there is no real way to address it for 2 years.
Mm.
See, we're trying to make you feel better.
That's similar to our situation. So these funds now, let me put on record, our governor is doing an amazing job, and everybody doesn't agree with me, but I don't care. Our governor is doing an amazing job at standing in the forefront with us. He has visited numerous child care centers across the state. He has gotten a team together to really show his counterparts the importance of this workforce and what the work that we're doing here. So I can say that our governor is on our side, but he is outnumbered. But he is willing to negotiate, and that's kind of where we're at right now, to negotiate some things that some folks want so that he can get what's best for. This is the year for the kid for him. So to get that, he's willing to bend a little bit because he's not taking it off of the table. It may not look like 48 billion, but it's going to look like something. That's his stance.
That is exciting that you have a governor as your champion, and how exciting. So hopefully folks who are listening get a little inspired by your advocacy story, because I'm guessing, Bianca, you've probably made some trips or two since I'm seeing
or
Trina,
10
or 10. And so do you just go to the state level, or have you gotten involved locally to kind of, shout at a local level?
I'm grassroots with it. I'm talking to our parents. I'm having parent meetings, letting them know, because you don't know what you don't know. So I'm letting them know how that's going to affect you. And some of our families on shares really did not connect, because it's like, oh, well, we get shares anyway. Okay, so this means for you that your parent share is going to go up, and they are attacking shares from the federal level. So if your shares get affected, then you don't have childcare at all, because there is nothing coming in from the state. So I did kind of break it down to our families, and a lot of our families got it. We're constantly advocating and sharing the messages with our families, having them to support us also in sharing the message, talking to their legislators, talking to their folks. Like we're doing
So they're
doing
also
some of that good
going
work.
to the Capitol with you, or the city council, or
Yep.
oh, how
Yep.
exciting. How
We're
exciting.
hosting community conversations with legislators in-house, like come in, have a conversation. What do we need to do? I've been everywhere, even to DC, to the state capitol. I'm here. We need to talk about this. This is how it's going to affect us. So we have been doing some serious advocacy work, literally from the ground up, because once the people understand their power and position in making this decision making, they can do some of the work as well.
And making sure that people are hearing from lots of different types of programs, because I know a lot of the people you went to DC with were people who were like, I've got 7 programs, and hearing from both of those programs and people who are like, we're a nonprofit, we're serving 80 families.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing from both sizes is important, because otherwise you can have legislators or, politicians at whatever level go, oh, this is just those fat cats who are trying to make lots of money off of parents' backs.
Yep.
But by having that diversity of who is showing up and talking, it really helps them to understand this is not just about people who have 6 centers, so you automatically know that they're a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
All right. So Trina, you've been pretty quiet.
Well, I introduced her as the advocate of all advocates, right? So
I know.
You've been in her lane.
I know, but I'm going to ask you a question. So when you hear advocacy, other than Bianca, what are the things that pop into your mind? I mean, what's your role? How do you get behind, other than, because, every strong woman needs that team behind her. So I'm sure you're part of the team with full pom-poms, but talk to me a little bit about what you do and how it reflects your personal mission at what you do.
All right, I can answer that. So some of the things I do a lot of in-house things. So number one, making sure I'm sharing the same message with our staff and with our families, but also making sure that we are providing quality care. So when legislators come out or parents come in and people want to see what's actually happening in the field, in the classroom, in our center specifically, that we're able to show that this is needed, is necessary for the children and the community we serve. So that's my part.
I think making sure that people know what quality care looks like is an undervalued part of advocacy, because they're like, hey, I went to the lady down the street and she plopped me in front of Sesame Street and I made it all the way to the legislature.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's what
That's
quality
true.
care is 4 hours in front of Sesame Street, an electric company, and Arthur.
But we don't have that. I mean,
We don't.
I mean, we have Sesame Street because Netflix rescued it. But, if we don't have PBS, even those kids don't have that.
Right. But it's what they remember from their childhood.
I
And
know.
so-
I just had to go on my own little, PBS rant here. So, but I do want to say, I mean, so it sounds like, and this is where I think a lot of folks, they hear advocacy and they kind of, oh, I'm going to turn it off because that doesn't apply to me. And we get those folks who are absolutely passionate. Bianca and Carrie could sit here all day, Trina, and you and I'd just be back here going, do, 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 do. But I think that when we start realizing that it's education and it's empowering the families, it's not just what you might think advocacy is. And I love the way you guys have paired that together. Oh, that is so exciting. That really is an example of, an organization coming together. Sounds like literally when I say when they've needed to, and you guys have now done this twice, right? You came together, and probably, I'm guessing about 22. I would suspect that 23 didn't just appear. Like, I had this feeling, I'm guessing you knew it was coming. And that transition was coming probably from, I don't know, 2020 and
17.
Yeah.
right. And so you knew that was kind of coming. And so you had some opportunity, and here you are 5 years later, standing tall, going after the next invisible giant. And how exciting. I am really inspired by how you guys have worked together. So, Carrie, I'm going to toss it over to you.
I mean, my problem is again, like Kate said, like I could have this conversation for 3 hours, hearing people who are like, this is an issue in my community, and I'm going to step up and I'm going to make sure that quality care is happening in my community. And it may mean that I have to hustle, and now we're selling plates or, whatever we have to do, renting the kitchen out to a catering company in the evening, or whatever we have to do, we're going to do it because this is important in our community.
Spaghetti dinner nights, pancake breakfast.
You said
right.
that so well. Thank you. I got to change my language from hook, or borrow, because that's not good.
I mean, we have different ways of looking at it, but yeah, robbing Peter to pay Paul, there's all of those kinds of phrases that we use that are basically, I'm gonna hustle because this thing needs to happen.
Yep.
Whatever language we want to use for it,
By any means necessary.
Yeah. And I just look, I'm trying to keep us to our time frame. I'm trying to, and it is not an easy one for me with you guys. Not the first childcare I can remember, but the childcare center I attended that made me want to be an early childhood educator was a Lutheran day school. And so that's part of why I was like, tell me about your community, because my brain was thinking about the community, which was the most ethnically diverse of any program I ever went to, was that Lutheran day school.
Nice.
And I literally have goosebumps. Okay, guys, I think that you have definitely gotten some things from today's episode. I want to make sure that you can connect to Tender Care and their team. So in the doobly-doo, in the comments, there will be a link to how to reach out to these amazing ladies. And here's a secret. They are launching a podcast of their own. So you'll be able to hear more from these amazing, amazing women. And if you heard,
I have a request.
Okay.
Trina, Bianca, you ready for this? So your first episode has to be what in the world happened. Okay. It needs to be our governor did X, because that way people listen to this, because so those of you who have listened to us probably realize that we record and then it takes a few weeks, months for it to air. So, and that's not because we're slow, it's just because we have a lot of people. And we love our guests, and we want to make sure that all of our guests get their spotlight. And so, if you get a chance to do that, this is the state of what happened, even if it's your teaser episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need help figuring out how to launch that teaser episode, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you guys can do that, and we'll share that on our show notes and in our newsletter that'll go out to about 12,000 folks. And so that way we bring that awareness to everybody, but they also get to go, well, I want to listen to the next one. I want to know what happened.
You're encouraging us for a September launch date. That's right. I'm hearing you're doing it.
I'm
Prayer,
doing my job.
Podcast. That's what we need. Prayer, peace, and podcast.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. So I got to wrap us up. I don't want to do it, but I've got to wrap us up. So if you learned something from today's show, or if you just want to share this with somebody else who needs to know, share the show, send them an email, send them a text. I don't care. Smoke signal. This is one that definitely needs to be shared out to more people, and go in and leave a review so that Trina knows that she needs to talk more on the episode. And and we will talk to you next week.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
All right, Trina,
Close us
what
out.
is your governor's name?
Governor Evers.
All right, because I think we should tag the governor of the state of Wisconsin when this episode comes out. And I think everybody who's listening needs to go and say thank you for being a champion.
Please.
Without saying, and we're sorry you have putzes, but at least thank you for being a champion. And we're looking forward to hearing y'all's second episode. And so now maybe with that, I'm going to hit the stop button.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you real talk and fresh insight from the world of early childhood education. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all of the latest episodes. And if you're planning a conference, training, or special event, Kate and Carrie would love to speak to your audience. You can learn more about their keynote sessions and workshops at kateandcarrie.com. If you learned something today, share the show and leave us a review below. We'll see you next time on Childcare Conversations.